This program is presented by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Welcome to this edition of PCD Soundbites. I'm your host, Malia Haley. Research shows that exposing youth to alcohol and tobacco use in movies and television can lead to the use of these substances at a young age. Many adolescents in the United States watch multiple hours of TV and streaming services each day. Preventing exposure to alcohol and tobacco is critical, as use of these harmful substances contribute to leading causes of illness and death in the U.S. Joining me by phone today is Brittany Keller-Hamilton, a doctoral student at The Ohio State University College of Public Health and winner of PCD's 2018 Student Research Paper Contest in the doctoral category. Today, we'll discuss her winning research, which looks at the frequency of tobacco and alcohol use in adolescents' favorite TV shows and examines whether the rates of alcohol and tobacco use differ by the show's parental rating. Thank you for joining me, Brittany.
Hi, Malia. Thanks for having me.
Brittany, tell us about your study.
Well, briefly, we analyzed the tobacco and alcohol-related content on TV shows that adolescent males watch the most. In Ohio, we have this big group of adolescent males that we started following back in 2015. They each told us what their favorite TV shows are and how often they watch them. So we picked the 20 top shows in this group, and we randomly selected some episodes from those shows, and we coded how much tobacco and alcohol was portrayed in them. It was quite the range of shows that the boys reported, from SpongeBob SquarePants to The Walking Dead. After analyzing our TV shows, we found that males who watch 2 hours per day on average would be exposed to 1 tobacco portrayal and 20 alcohol portrayals.
What led you to this type of research, and what makes you so interested in this topic?
Well, lately there's been a lot of really good work done quantifying the amount of tobacco and alcohol content in movies. These studies have shown consistently that youth who are exposed to more substance portrayals in movies are actually at a greater risk of using tobacco or alcohol. However, maybe due to the nature of TV versus movies, a lot less work has been done trying to get at how much tobacco and alcohol are portrayed on TV shows. Adolescence is a really critical period for preventing initiation of tobacco and alcohol use because behaviors that start in adolescence related to these substances often then turn into adult misuse of these substances. We were also really interested in evaluating whether the amount of tobacco and alcohol portrayals differed by television rating. If we found difference or lack of difference, this could be evidence to support reducing or eliminating tobacco and alcohol portrayals on shows that are rated for youth.
That is excellent. But what made you focus on male adolescents?
That's a really good question. So, as originally designed, a goal of the parent study was actually to measure predictors of smokeless tobacco use, like chewing tobacco or dip, among adolescents. Ohio has this large Appalachian region, and so smokeless tobacco use is a really big problem in our state among youth. We only included boys in this study because the prevalence of smokeless tobacco use among girls is pretty low.
Interesting. And what role does TV show ratings play in the display of alcohol and tobacco?
Unfortunately, we found that it doesn't play much of a role in how much tobacco or alcohol is included in TV shows. While shows rated Y7 or PG had pretty low rates of tobacco and alcohol portrayals, shows rated TV-14, basically shows rated for adolescent audiences, had quite a lot of tobacco and alcohol portrayals. In fact, statistically, they had similar rates of portrayals as shows rated for mature audiences.
And was there a difference between visual and verbal displays of alcohol and tobacco use?
Well, one of the limitations of our study was that we couldn't collect too many details about the verbal portrayals of tobacco and alcohol reliably. We had a group of students that we trained to code these TV shows, but collecting a lot of details about both visual and verbal portrayals just wasn't something we could handle because they often occurred concurrently. So we just kept a tally of all the verbal mentions of each product for each show, and then recorded more specific details about the visual portrayals. However, over 70% of all of the tobacco and alcohol portrayals on these shows were visual, so we did end up getting a lot of good detail about how these substances were portrayed overall. In general, we found that visual portrayals of these substances were usually carried out by characters who are white, non-Hispanic, male, and adult.
These are intriguing results. How do you think your research can address the issue of substance use in movies and TV shows?
Well, I think the biggest thing to come out of our study was that there was no difference, according to parental rating, of the amount of tobacco and alcohol portrayed on TV shows that are popular among adolescent males. So this really updated the evidence base by describing how frequently these exposures are, and we hope that it can be used to justify consideration of tobacco and alcohol portrayals when assigning TV ratings to shows.
Thank you, Brittany. You can read her study, Tobacco and Alcohol on Television, a content analysis of male adolescents' favorite shows, online at cdc.gov/PCD. The findings and conclusions in this report are those of the author and do not necessarily represent the official position of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
For the most accurate health information, visit cdc.gov or call 1-800-CDC-INFO.